So I have one piece of my front shirt, and this is where I'm going to be attaching my pocket. So for this kind of pocket, you attach it only to the front side of your shirt and not to the front and the back. And then here is my pocket, and the width of this measures 7.5 inches and the height of this measures 14 inches. We're going to be making some adjustments to this at the end of the day. And this is on fold, wrong sides facing each other. So now bringing back my shirt onto the table, I'm going to place my pocket underneath it this way, making sure that the folded edge is facing towards the crotch line. And then what you'd want to achieve is, you can see already that the side seam of the shirt is different from the side of the pocket. So you just bring out some excess here, and this is because we're going to trace the side seam of the shirt onto the pocket, so they must align, because when you're sewing them together it has to be the same thing. So making use of my pin, I'm going to hold this down at the top. Also, it must align at the top, and then I'm going to be cutting this out like this so that we have the same side seam for our pocket and for our shorts. And at the top as well, just make sure that it aligns properly. So we've achieved that. The next thing we're going to be doing is how much to go in by. So you can go in by 1.5 inches to 2.5. I marked 2.5 here, but then I corrected it to 2 inches. So I'm going to be making use of 2 inches. And then at the top here, you're going to be needing half of an inch to stitch this pocket to probably your band or something. So that's what I'm marking there. And just beneath that half an inch, the pocket opening is going to be 7 inches. So I'm marking on 7 inches. Don't forget that the pocket is underneath this shirt. So I'm going to be making a notch on this 7 inches on both the pockets and the shirt as well. So I'll just take out my pin so that we can proceed to the next step. Now, for the shape of this pocket, you can actually leave your pocket like this, but then I just want to shapen it a bit, reduce it so that it's not looking too big and just squarish. So I'm just going to cut this out this way to give our pocket a different shape. Just trying to make some further adjustments to the shape here. So I'm okay with the shape of the pocket as it is. Now I'll bring over my short piece here. And then what you want to do is, I'm actually meant to make a marking on the pocket itself. So this marking I made at the top of the waist on the shirt, I'll also make it on the pocket. So I'm coming in by 2 inches, and then I'm going to draw a straight line right up to, right down to the 7 inches that I came down by, just like I'm doing so. And then I'll place this on my shorts, making sure that they align at the top and at the side. And then we can proceed to running a stitch just from here all the way to this point. So please make sure they align properly, and then we can proceed to running a stitch. If you've watched up to this point, please don't forget to share, like, and subscribe. Thank you. So at this point, some people would actually cut off this away, but I'm just going to be flipping it over because it will help give my fabric some stability. So I'm just using my hand to give this a very good press. You should actually iron your pockets out at this point in time, but for the sake of this tutorial, I'll just use my hand to give this a very good press. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to run a top stitch over it, just about a quarter of an inch, so that everything is held down nicely in place. Please make sure that the pocket at the back is not coming on onto the front, so giving it a good press would actually help you. So I'm running a stitch of half of an inch, a quarter of an inch, sorry, over the top of my pocket this way. So you can see that even without ironing, once you get your stitchings right, everything just falls neatly into place. So this is what it looks like behind. Very neat. So now I'm just going to adjust the pocket so that you see what it looks like. So yes, this is what it looks like. You can see the pocket has already replaced that 2 inches that we took off. Then I'm going to turn this over to the wrong side, and because we want to give this a neat finishing, I'm not going to be sewing on this like this because I don't want the stitch or the weaving to show. I'm going to pick one end of my pocket this way and place them wrong sides facing each other, just like this. I'm going to take it again just in case. So I'm just going to set my pocket the way it was before, flip it over to the wrong side, pick the side facing you and pick the other side, wrong side facing each other, flip it over this way, and then run a quarter of an inch to hold your pocket. So we'll be making this pocket from the inside, we'll be making this stitch from the inside of the pocket, so this stitch will not show at the end of the day, and then there'll be no need to weave, any loose ends. So you stop at that notch part, and then now I'm going to turn this inside out so that the part we stitched will be inside the pocket. And then of course at this point you should give this a very good press, but then I'm just going to use my hands to press it down flat, or you should give this a very good press. And you can see the outcome of our pocket looking very beautiful and professional. Now, one last thing to do on this pocket side is to run another top stitch here. Now this top stitch is going to be visible, so that doesn't matter at all. You can actually skip this step if you want to. And then you run the stitch all on the way till you get to the 7-inch mark that you notched. And then at the waistline at the top there, we're also going to run another stitch to hold all 3 pieces together, so that when you're attaching it to your band, you have just one piece and then it's easier for you to handle. So I'm going to be running a stitch of about a quarter of an inch, so you can use your hand to feel where the pocket started from, and then you just stop at this point. Trim off any loose threads, and then at the side of the pocket here I'm just going to be running another little stitch to hold the pocket and the side seam together. And that's it for our pocket, guys. And this is how to sew this kind of pocket. And then at this point you can just sew your back piece to the side of your front piece and then join at the crotch line, and your pocket is ready. I hope you found this tutorial useful, guys. Please don't forget to share, like, and subscribe. If there are other tutorials you'd like for me to put up, please leave them in the comment section. As you can see, the pocket looks very beautiful and very well laid out even without a press. Till my next video, bye bye.